It's August, and we're headed out on our second backpacking trip. After a 4-hour drive, we set up camp next to a creek and settled in for a relaxing afternoon. With afternoon thunderstorms in the forecast, we set up the tarp to provide shelter and a little extra privacy from the nearby campers.
We've just arrived at Alleghany National Forest at the Minister Creek Trailhead. There are a few free camping spots right along the creek, so it's pretty close to other tents, and it looks like there's some families there, but shouldn't be too bad. I'm gonna try to take a nap. Tonight for dinner, we are making chicken bacon sandwiches on ciabatta bread with tomato and arugula and a chipotle mayo sauce that Travis made at home. I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to cook the bacon up first in our cast iron and then cook the chicken in the bacon fat. Tomorrow for breakfast, since we'll be at the same camp and we're really close to the park, we're going to make blueberry pancakes, some more bacon, and we'll have maple syrup. Gonna be eating good on this trip. Travis did a great job making the fire with this damp wood that he collected. He's pretty much a wilderness survivalist at this point. He's keeping us warm, keeping us fed. Better than a knife at home.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, it's like butter.
We got this Havarti jalapeno cheese. We got this at Aldi.
Yep.
And it's so good and melty and creamy. A little spice with the jalapeno. First meal of the trip.
Making dinner always takes so much longer.
Yeah. This was a tough one, but we made it.
Yep. Oh my gosh, this is huge.
This is going to be so messy. So we're back at Alleghany National Forest. This time we're at Minister Creek. Been looking forward to this trip. It's August, so it's hot, it's muggy, chance of thunderstorms every day. And I think we're looking forward to testing ourselves, proving ourselves maybe a little bit, redeeming ourselves from our last/first backpacking trip.
Yeah. Our first time around backpacking wasn't that great. We made some pretty crucial mistakes, which we're determined to not make again.
We'll just make new ones. The biggest thing for us was making sure we had an easy day on day one, since we did have to drive here. The great thing about Minister Creek is that there are a ton of free campsites pretty much right at the trailhead, right along the creek. So we were able to walk just a few hundred feet in, find a campsite. We're within walking distance of our car. There's a pit toilet not far away, so we can have a more relaxed, kind of almost like a car camping experience. It's also a shorter hike than Morrison.
The first backpacking trip we did, yeah, we definitely learned a lot. This one much smoother, especially after our Adirondacks trip. Learned a lot on that trip too. It's all just a learning process, just learning over and over and over, making mistakes, learning things you didn't know yet.
Learning from them, not making those mistakes again, and making new ones.
Yeah.
Eventually we might actually know what we're doing out here. Part of it is having fun while you learn too. Making learning a fun part of the process and trying to be gentle with ourselves.
I think the plan after this is we'll get all the food stuff packed away, get everything that we're not going to take tomorrow put in the car, and then we got to go in search of firewood. A little bit more for tonight and for tomorrow. The weather's been great, so hopefully we can have a fire all night.
And tomorrow we're going to have a nice, easy start to the day. We're going to make some blueberry pancakes. What do you think was one of our biggest mistakes when we hiked the Morrison Loop back in May?
Our biggest mistake was FOMO, fear of missing out. We thought that the first campsite just wasn't good enough and that we were missing out on a better campsite somewhere. And in this area, we don't need the perfect triangle. We don't need to be as concerned. Still want to make sure we don't leave food anywhere and all of that. But, that campsite would have been amazing. And it would have changed the whole feeling of that day. And so our mistake was just, I think that's the start of all of our mistakes. That one mistake was just a cascade effect of mistakes.
Yeah. That was definitely one of the bigger ones. The other big mistake that we made because of our inexperience, we just didn't know what we definitely needed to bring and definitely did not need to bring, so we brought way too much stuff. Our packs were not insanely heavy, but definitely heavier than they are now. And it's amazing how just a few pounds really can make a huge difference in the feel of your pack and the difficulty that you experience on the trail. Even just simple things like trying to climb over a fallen tree or duck under a branch can be really hard when you have a few extra pounds. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it feels different this time because our packs are much lighter. I think we've really dialed in what is essential and what you can leave behind. And that might change depending on the circumstances. I mean, it is going to be rainy, so we do need adequate rain gear, but it's not going to be cold, like not even close.
Yeah.
So we don't need any warm weather gear. So that frees up a lot of weight. So as we get in closer to fall, if we do decide to do more backpacking as the weather gets colder, we'll have to reevaluate that. But
Yeah. I mean, my pack is 13 pounds lighter. Just the sheer scope of things that we thought we would need.
we brought way too much food last time.
Way too much food, way too many clothes. Definitely did a better job this time.
We're just enjoying a fire. Travis went to get more firewood. That's the thing with a campfire is it's pretty crazy how much wood you really need to sustain a fire. Well, he's collecting more firewood. I'll get this stuff split. There's a few different reasons to split wood in the wet like this. The bark is super saturated. It's basically like a sponge for the rain. So when you peel the bark off, all that wood inside that was dry is still dry. Travis has been working very hard whilst I napped and lazed about. He got all this firewood, got camp set up. It's pretty much amazing. The trick with this, which I struggle with, is to keep significant downward pressure on your hand holding your knife as you bonk the front of it with your bonking stick. Now she's going.
I'm going in.
Those are some good looking pancakes. They even have like a little bit of wood smoke flavor.
Yeah?
Don't you think? A little smoky.
Oh.
Despite me being very grumpy and cranky about it, Travis was awesome and pretty much got the whole campsite packed up before breakfast / while making breakfast. So we only have a few more things to pack up. We're going to take what we don't need to the car, and then we'll start hiking in.
Tell me what you think about the trail at the very beginning.
Oh man, it was really steep. steep start, but looks like it's leveled out. We just joined up with an old logging road. I love these old logging roads because it just makes me think of like what it would have been like here just like 50 years ago even. Totally changed the landscape since then.
And it's hard to put into words how wet it is here, having had no rain since we've been here. Like the ground is still just like slick with
Yeah, it's just damp and
just
humid.
damp and humid.
It's definitely very humid today.
Yep. But
it's not too hot, so that's good.
no, it's not hot. It's nice and cool. We're only doing like 3 miles today, so we're not pressed for making time. I'm not really afraid of the weather. We're just gonna have a good hike and get to camp. And
yeah, there is a chance of thunderstorms today, so that's one of the main reasons that we decided to do kind of a shorter day. That way we can get to camp, make sure we have our tarp and everything set up as we want it, and then just relax and maybe even get to enjoy the thunderstorm instead of feeling panicked and scrambly while it starts.
yep.
Maybe.
Yep. Maybe. So we want to do the north loop. So we're gonna go this way. And then on our way back, we'll come down from the south loop. So we'll come back down this way.
Sign says 3 miles to Triple Fork Camp, which is where we want to camp tonight.
So we've already done half a mile in no time. So we're just gonna keep trucking.
That rock is its own mini forest.
It's so crazy. It's got trees growing out of it.
Trees and ferns. It's way bigger than me.
Ah. We came to a section of the trail that crisscrossed the creek. We even saw several mushrooms, including these horse hooves on a beech tree. This tiny orange bow leaf, and these turkey tails growing on a fallen log. If you ask me like what my favorite type of forest is, it's always the forest with like just never-ending ferns. I don't know why. I just find it beautiful. But I just love the look of ferns, especially when the wind hits them and they just blow like ocean waves.
It's kind of tough going. I do like that there's a nice breeze and we're kind of just in and out of the sunshine. We're not in direct sunlight. It's not too hot. I don't know, as of right now, it doesn't seem as humid as it was earlier. Anyway, Travis has longer legs than me, so he's always way ahead. I gotta catch up. I guess that means I gotta get moving. Here I go.
It's amazing how much better it feels as we've just gained a few hundred feet in elevation. But you know, we've been in the valley for the last day. It's just been damp and humid and no airflow. And now that we've gone up just a little bit, we're feeling this nice breeze roll through. It's made it very, very enjoyable, very pleasant.
As we hiked, I kept my eyes peeled for more interesting mushrooms, like these cute orange mushrooms on a log dotted with woodpecker holes. I don't know what these mushrooms are, but they are so cool. They look like coral.
We later learned that these were most likely edible crown-tipped coral mushrooms.
On we go.
Onward, and maybe upward.
A little bit.
What'd you find?
Nothing. What are you looking at?
Nothing, I guess. Oh, I see more.
Oh, now he sees them.
Spider web in the face. The best game when you're going through the forest.
I dropped one, Boo.
Oh man, fired. There's another one there.
Yeah, that one's a little scraggly.
Okay.
It's all spider webs in here. Careful. They are so ripe. That's why that other one just fell off. Covered in spider webs. Look at that little handful.
Yep. Time to eat.
More snackies. Cheers.
Cheers. Mm.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. We're making decent time. We're not in a hurry, which is unusual for us. We're usually in a hurry. It's only 12:30. Probably make it to camp in a couple hours. Only have like 2 miles to go.
I found more bark to hoard. We are definitely having a campfire.
Yeah.
I don't care how damp this wood is, we are going to make it happen. fancy meeting you here.
Well, I gotta go. Bye.
We continued hiking along the hillside, carefully maneuvering over ephemeral mountain streams created by the recent rainfall, before passing house-sized boulders.
We enjoyed each other's company, the peace of the forest, and the beauty of the natural environment that surrounded us. This sign tells us that we are not far from the camps. So we're maybe, I think, 0.5 miles. I don't know. Maybe we had fun and crushed it all at the same time.
I wouldn't be mad about getting to camp.
This will be home for the night. Nice big fire pit.
Welcome to this week's edition of Nikki Bungles a Tree. That could have gone a lot worse. I am not mad about that. There's some loose rocks here that look like maybe they were part of a fire ring at one point. I think I'm going to move them because I have a feeling that might be a trip hazard. Check that out. Ants and all their larvae. Gross.
Nikki has a little visitor who is trying to hitch a ride. An inch at a time. Up. Oh my goodness.
Whew, I'm so glad that's done.
Yeah, I got all of our camp chores done. Well, mostly.
Yeah, Travis found some good firewood.
Nikki found some good firewood.
We really had to go far. This
Yeah.
place is definitely used quite a bit.
It's funny. Nikki and I are both like off exploring, getting something different from where we are.
Just on a little walk here by our campsite, exploring the area. Saw a little newt taking a nap. So cute. Travis found a log to sit on by the river, so he's just relaxing over there. It's just a really peaceful area. There are at least like 10 campsites back here. We're currently the only ones. We get to enjoy the whole area and explore. It's really nice getting to camp and having a relaxing afternoon together. So I was walking around, checking out some of the other campsites that we had walked past earlier. A little fire ring. There's a nice one over here with some rock chairs. I found, I think, an artifact because it looks like a yoke. Check this out.
Oh, you saw this?
Yeah, it's like an old yoke.
Yeah. An old metal yoke.
For yoking oxen. It's really neat.
And it's big. Like, you know, for scale. I'm not gonna like really pick it up, but I mean, it's solid 5 feet.
I love thinking about what took place in the past on the land that you're on. And especially here, I mean, it looks so wild.
You never know like what settlers and explorers like were here hundreds of years ago.
And what they were up to. Farming or logging.
Hard saying.
Fun little find. Oh, did you see this?
Oh, what is it?
Looks like a wrench, maybe?
No, it's a hook.
An old
artifact of some sort.
It's very rusted, so it's hard to tell what it was. Very neat.
Super neat.
Tonight for dinner, we're doing a homemade dehydrated meal of stroganoff made with ground turkey, extra mushrooms, This is one that we made the whole thing and then dehydrated it together. One of the tips I learned or read online is that when you're dehydrating ground meat, you should mix it with breadcrumbs before you cook it. Basically like you're making a meatball, because that, when it rehydrates, the breadcrumbs absorb some of the moisture and it helps give it a better texture. So we've never tried that before. I'm looking forward to trying it. With our chili, we didn't do that method, and sometimes, I think it was fine for the most part, but sometimes the meat would feel a little like chewier. So hopefully with this, it gives it a better consistency. Got our stroganoff. I'm gonna basically pre-soak it before we cook it. Step one is open your water. Works better that way. This might not be enough, but at least it will get it started soaking. Yeah, we'll need more. With a lot of the commercially available dried meals, they are freeze-dried, which removes moisture differently. With this, it's just a regular dehydrator, and it tends to rehydrate better if you let it soak for a little while. Have the food on the fire. Get the water boiling. I think I let it soak for about 20 minutes, but I was getting antsy, so I decided to just put it on the fire and get it warming up. This fire has been
It's a little bit more difficult.
really difficult to keep going. There's just not a lot of dead dry wood available. And what is dead is, either starting to rot or pretty newly dead, so it's still wet. Plus it rained yesterday.
Yep.
So we've really got the cards stacked against us.
It's okay. We're making it. It's
We're
going.
making it work.
Still enjoying myself. Very much.
Oh my gosh, this is such a cool area. It's so beautiful. Having the Minister Creek right here next to us. Having all these campsites to ourselves and just having this big open expanse of forest. It's very peaceful.
And the weather has been phenomenal. I was a big skeptic before we got in, because the whole time it was just supposed to rain every day, and any amount of rain can make things more difficult.
Yeah.
Tenfold.
Yeah, the forecast was always hanging out right around 50% chance of rain. So that's right at that mark where you're not sure if you should just go and hope for the best, or expect there to be rain and just either not go or just prepare to be wet. So we did bring everything in case we were wet, but I'm really thankful that the 50% aired in our favor.
Yeah.
There's still certainly a chance that things will change either tonight or tomorrow, but I'm knocking on very moist wood
But
in hopes that we'll have good weather.
yeah. Me too.
Dinner is served.
Yes, please.
Well earned. Try it.
Mmm.
So we cooked off the extra water until it was basically just a sauce.
Oh, man. You outdid yourself with this, sweetheart.
Thank you.
So good.
I think the meat might be the star of the show. This is the best rehydrated meat I've had yet. Maybe even including like professional purchased dehydrated meals. That breadcrumb trick is, whoever figured that out is a freaking genius, because it is like eating a meatball. starting to get dark. Just enjoying the evening by the fire. Been doing a few things just to clean up around camp so that once it gets dark, we don't have to worry about it and we can just climb into the tent and go to bed. Every time I have a campfire, I can't help but think of a childhood memory, hanging out by the fire with my family. And every time my dad would put a log on the fire, we would say, "More wood, more wood." And then the sparks would fly and we'd all say, "Ooh, ah." I think my little sister was around 5 at the time, maybe even younger. I can still hear her little voice saying, "Ooh, ah." So, Steph, if you're watching, this log's for you. Ooh, ah. Well, I think that's about going to do it for us. It's getting dark. We're going to hang out by the fire for a little while and head to bed. We just put our last few pieces of wood on the fire and we're sitting there chatting, relaxing, and I feel a single drop of water land on my leg. And I thought maybe it was from the trees above us. I was like, hey, I just felt a drop of water.
And then it was just like we heard in the distance just that whooshing sound that you wish would be wind, and it's actually rain. And we just, thankfully, like, we've gotten so good at prepping for bed and having everything in place that we doused the fire and put everything under the, pushed everything up under the tarp really well that we knew was going to stay, gathered up our sleeping pads, our little foam pads, and just jetted for the tent. And right when we got in, the bottom fell out of the clouds.
Yeah, so it's still raining a little bit now. It seems to have died down quite a bit, but certainly not enough to be willing to go out there. But I'm just so thankful that we got here early, that we were able to relax and enjoy ourselves at camp, that we were smart and we got everything ready way before we were actually ready to go to bed.
Yep.
And we even peed a little earlier.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, should I go now or should I wait until I'm ready for bed? And I'm so glad we did that. Like, it's those little things that just, it made it so much less stressful.
I guess that's it for us tonight.
Yeah. Gonna fall asleep to the sound of the rain and hope that it stops before morning.
Well, good morning. Gonna get the bear hang down. Gonna get some coffee made for Nikki. Get some breakfast going. All of the above.
Good morning. Morning of day 3. Rained all last night. So it's pretty wet out here. But it's not raining anymore, which is awesome. So that means we can make breakfast and pack up camp without fear of getting everything and ourselves soaked. I was just breaking down the sleeping setup. Travis was making breakfast and he made my coffee. So I'm taking a moment to enjoy a few sips of coffee before I get back at it. still beautiful here. I think, there is definitely something about the rain that just makes the colors of the leaves really pop. Timing of the wet weather is perfect because we do have dry clothes in the car. So in a few hours when we get to the car, we'll be able to change into dry clothes. So knowing that there's an end to your misery with the wet clothes is nice. Makes it a little more bearable for sure. But I'm going to get back at it, keep drinking my coffee, get everything broken down and packed up. We'll eat breakfast, wash our dishes, pack that up, and then we'll be on our way. Breakfast is our usual oatmeal with dried fruit.
I did pack the food bag with the pineapple and the PB&Js on top. Yep.
Why don't we take the pineapple and PB&Js and put them in the brain?
The container won't fit. I don't want you to smush the PB&Js. And it's right on top of your bag. It's on the very top. So I figure if we are going to get into it, then okay. Yeah. It's that kind of morning.
Sometimes I just eat and I don't even realize what I'm doing. I love food.
People ask me why I'm skinny. Well, we have headed out of camp and we're on our way to the other half of the North Loop. It's going to be a very wet day though. I can already tell.
Follow the white blaze.
The babbling creek became the soundtrack of our hike as the path followed its meandering course through an open pine forest. After running face first into multiple spider webs, we took turns using a stick to clear the path ahead. Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa.
Definitely not.
You're not a wizard, Travis.
So beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Especially when the sun comes out.
It's just shining and glistening through the trees. Oh my goodness.
keep hearing this hawk, but I don't see a nest close by.
After leaving camp, the trail followed along the creek for quite a ways, and all along the creek were just campsite after campsite after campsite. So many areas to camp. It's incredible. You really have your pick. I don't think we saw any that were better than the one that we camped at. We saw a few that were almost as cool. But the trail eventually turned away from the creek and went uphill. Went up a little ways into this forest. Again, very like fern covered, pretty open, but then every once in a while you'll kind of turn a corner and you're in an area of really young trees, so it really like encroaches, and trail's a little rockier today than it was yesterday. Some big boulders and smaller rocks along the trail to kind of traverse. We walked over a few little runoff streams, which makes sense since it rained last night. Looks like we're going up some more elevation. I think we misjudged thinking that we had done a lot of the elevation yesterday. We looked at the all trails because that gives you the little elevation guide, and we've got a little bit at the beginning of our hike today, but the real elevation comes when we get closer to the overlook. We have a pretty steep looking climb there, so that should be fun. So far, very enjoyable hike though. Hey there! Whoa. Whoa! This house.
Oh wow. I saw it peeking through some of the trees, but man.
Our own little overlook. And that's our trail. It's there. In a big bramble. fruit and insect for breakfast. It's so crazy to be in such a thick bramble and then just have this beautiful overlook just in the middle of it all.
I know. Makes me wonder what the overlook is going to be.
I'm good.
Wow.
These rocks are slick. So glad we got that on tape.
On tape. What are we, 80?
What is this, 1992?
Imagine carrying a VHS camcorder or VHS like video recorder. Oh my gosh. Would have been like a 30-pound weight on your shoulder.
At least. Pausing for a little almond butter break. Not really stopping because I'm not going to take my pack off, but starting to feel really low energy, so I needed it.
It's really tasty too. Which one is that? Maple almond butter.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the honey is my favorite,
Mm-hmm.
but the maple is really good too. Mm.
Can you hear that? I think it's coyotes. They sounded pretty far away. Whoa, that was crazy. This part of the trail is pretty steep. I'm glad I had my almond butter snack to give me energy for this tough part. Whew. Big elevation means big views, though. Nikki West, amateur geologist, reporting live. These are some big rocks. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I am nerding out right now.
Want to see what's up in front? I haven't looked.
Yeah, oh man. Looks like we're gonna walk through a little slot canyon here. A big slot canyon. Look how dark it is in here.
Yeah.
Can you even see me?
Yeah.
It's dark. Did you see this little offshoot?
Oh, wow. So it starts way up here.
Want to go for a slide? Might just fit.
Made it to the top.
We made it to Minister Valley Overlook. Let's go check it out.
Ready to check it out. This is a really beautiful overlook. It's absolutely worth the hike up. And it's crazy to think that just an hour and a half or two ago, we were almost at the bottom of this valley, if not the bottom of this valley, which is, you know, it's 500 and some change feet elevation difference. But our plan is to stop and have a snack.
I'm not sure if you can see it, but right there is the creek.
As you can tell, it's a long ways away.
Really cool area here behind the overlook too. Again, it's really interesting when you hike a trail like this, how vastly the landscape can change from one section to the next, going from this really overgrown brambly section into this section with these rock ledges, and then you come up the hill and we're in this flat, open, like maple forest.
It's so strange.
Yeah, it's just really interesting how even on just a short 6-mile hike, things can change so drastically. So
It keeps it a lot of, it's a lot of fun.
yeah, it makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
Time to get our packs on and get moving.
Sweaty packs back on. Sweaty packs on sweaty backs.
We're just about finished with the Minister Creek Trail. It's been a really great adventure.
Yeah, definitely had a much better time than we did on the Morrison Trail. We learned from a lot of the mistakes we made.
I know I was definitely looking for some redemption with this trip after the mistakes that we made at the last one and the challenges that we faced as a result. So I think we definitely were smarter about how we did things this time.
Well, and also there are just things that, even as successful as this trip was, there are things that we have kind of talked about and learned and have decided to do things a little bit differently with our time before a hike. So, it's just a constantly evolving thing. And then there are a couple of, concessions that we think we have to make. When you're hiking out in a forest that has a lot of humidity, a lot of moisture retention, you're probably going to have a sweatier, hotter sleep. And there is no getting around it. So just got to have to embrace it and enjoy it for what it is.
For sure, yeah. We were talking about, what could we do differently to not be so sweaty? But the reality is when you're sleeping out in nature and it's humid, there's really not much you can do about it. So you just have to adapt.
But the trail has been beautiful. It's been worth the hike. The overlook was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Morrison Trail is beautiful too, and we still had a wonderful time there.
Yeah.
We speak a little negatively of it just because we did have some big mistakes, especially that first night, the night that we were camping.
Yeah.
But we definitely enjoyed the trail. The whole Alleghany area just seems really beautiful. So I'm really glad we came back here. Just a little ways to go till we'll be hiking out.
Can't really describe. It's how far you can see. You can hear everything.
I dooted.
Really can't describe the smells of this place. It's like you can taste it in the air. It's like stroganoff and almond butter. It's oddly satisfying.
Oh, God. Oh, that's funny.